heart. Breathe into your heart, allowing it to open. And it's from this place of openness, of love, unconditional love, that we just offer up gratitude. Gratitude to God, the creator of all that is living light, all that is unconditional love, all that is peace. And from this beautiful, prayerful space, we just ask that this time is blessed. In fact, we know that it is blessed, that it is a blessing, that each and every moment is being held, that everything that needs to happen happens, and that all is just in alignment with serving, with openness, with grace. And so I bless this whole encounter, this dinner, the food, and I just know and trust. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. Love you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina. I'd like to welcome everybody. My name is Gary Carpenter, and joining me is Tony Moreau. We have put this together, okay, and it's a journey. It's a journey that you're going to hear me talk about, and Tony's going to talk about. But before we speak, I'd like to recognize certain people that are here. We have a lot of visiting dignitaries that are going to be with us rolling in. I see a couple of them here. I see Kelly Lansing, the head of Helping Hearts at Home. I see Deborah Maglione from New York Life. I see Patty Carpenter from Community Home Care, happens to be my wife. All these people have had certain parts with us. We also have with us Paul Wasser. Paul is the CEO of the biggest assisted living program, the newest, St. Johnland. Paul. We also expected at some time, Assemblyman, New York State Assemblyman Michael Fitzpatrick will be here to say a few words. Okay, maybe not. Who knows? But whatever the case may be, what I'd like to do is start out by just telling you people, this has been a journey for Tony and I to get here tonight. Tony is a very close friend of mine. We've worked together for over 40 years in healthcare, and we're still friends, okay? During the time in healthcare, he gravitated to be an excellent author, a book writer, okay? And I gravitated with him as to the cause. And the cause is focusing with people who have concerns. Could be opioid, it could be suicide. People that have concerns. But we wanted to blend culture with it. We wanted to blend culture. As this went on, Tony and I spent about close to maybe 3 years thinking we were going to put a cultural arts center in Northport. And we came very close to doing that. And then we paused. And we met a guy named Tom Lavasso, who's here. Tom is someplace here. Where's Tom? Tom is the guy who does all our video work. Okay? And he said, guys, let's move to a video type market, a social media market, stuff that maybe Tony and I were not familiar with. So we moved away. Well, to this day, Tom has us on Amazon, where Tony has sold greater than 700 books throughout America. So it's been quite good. But Tony and I continually wanted to have a presence in Smithtown. We wanted to have a presence here. Finally, we met with Chrissy, the manager of the Smithtown Pasta House. And she says, Gary, why not do it here? Okay, have your event here. This event is being underwritten by corporate America. All the dinner is paid for. Just have to buy your own drinks, guys. That's it. But this is where we wanted to do it. We said we don't need a store. On a monthly basis, we're going to be bringing culture and education to people who want it. Now, this is no cost to anybody here. We're just asking for donations to help us in our cause. We have a lot of baskets there. Buy raffle items, okay? Considering donating to our cause. This process has gone on for years. But I'll tell you, for Tony and I, two big important people in moving the structure is our wives, Patty and Patty. So on that note, I am going to turn this over to my partner, Tony Morone.
Listen up, listen up, please. Let me just explain very simply. The WIHN Foundation I came up with Why in Heaven's Name. And I wrote a book 25 years ago called Born Under a Lucky Star. And we have a kid in a wheelchair who can't figure out the whys. Why me? If you saw the movie Wonder, you would understand where everybody's looking at him. He's a little bit different, tilted, and he prays to God. And the story is me. I wrote the story because I couldn't figure out why. Why would God do that? Why is somebody, different like that? But all different, but, in this case, they were really different. So the name of the book is Born of the Lucky Star and Why in Heaven's Name. And that is what I wanted to start doing, is get the community together. This was my dream, to have tonight a gathering of the community where we can, the community, be the answer to the problem. When you start thinking about, the suicide and the drug rehab, and you go to Seafield and you go to South Oaks and you're in there for 28 days, it's really neat, but when you come out, you need some help. And we're going to introduce later on Linda Ventura, who is Superwoman, in my opinion. Oh, she's here.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I thought I was talking too loud. But before we get to that, the whole idea with the WIHN Foundation is to get people that are artists out of the house and before an audience. Songwriters, comics, magicians, musicians, novelists, poets. Like Danielle behind me, she just came out with a new book. And it's so important. You just can't imagine to be the artist and nobody is reading or looking at your work. So that's what we're trying to do here. And over the next couple of months when we bring people in, they might not be the best. Everything's original. This is no karaoke. If you want to go karaoke, you go to the bar and you listen to James Taylor and all those people. You come in here and you're getting up and you're showing what you got, your creativity. So with that, our first speaker tonight is somebody who is very creative, and it's in medicine. And somebody that, when I have a problem in medicine, I go to Dr. Salazzo, who has written a book. Dr. Salazzo, a couple years back, I wrote a book, and he said, wow, I'm going to write a book. And he wrote a fantastic book. Again, he's the intellect, he's really a different guy. And I admire him so much, and I really would like him to come up and talk to us about his book. And he's writing a new book, and we're thinking about how to get people to read our book. And in his case, it's very important that they read the book because he knows what he's talking about with medicine. Dr. Salazzo?
I didn't really know what he wanted me to do because my book is about
combining natural medicine and conventional medicine. And I'm going to try to point it to what we're here for. And I have a TV show on cable vision only, and it's called Shock the World with Health and Goodness. And I think that's what this is about, is goodness. And the major concern of the WIHN Foundation is suicide, drug addiction, and he mentioned culture. And I think right now this country and the world is having a hard time with culture and common sense and so forth. And things need to be fixed and better. My book is about, again, combining natural therapeutics with conventional. There's good things in both worlds. And lots of people are complaining that we are getting brainwashed culturally with advertisements for many different drugs. You turn on the TV and there's a pill for every ill. You have someone that's 100 pounds overweight jumping down singing about a new drug, but yet it can cause cancer as a side effect. Tuberculosis as a side effect. The cure is worse than the disease. So that's a concern in culture, and people have to be their own health advocate right now, because there's lots of different, big pharma, there's concerns with that. And I think this also has to do with the drug war right now. Drugs are very easy to get. Oxycodone is being abused. I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, pharmacies were getting raided in Long Island. They would just put a gun to their head and take all their drugs, right? That was like rampant, like a year or two ago. It was amazing what was going on. So there's lots of concerns. But I think, the organization here is just trying to get out goodness, trying to help people get back on track. You want to be the purpose you want purpose, and you want to be the person that you want to be on purpose. And I think that's what people are missing, is purpose. Work is good. Enjoy your work. Do well. And our country was great when people cared about doing a good job, making a good product. And that seems to have all gotten put to the side. It's take everything, give nothing back attitude. How to beat society. How to play society like a fiddle. And this is a bad attitude. And I think we were talking about attitude. And that's what we lack, and that's what people lack. They lost focus of having a purpose, realizing that work is good, a busy man, happy man, that expression I think is real. And I think whatever the organization can do for that, to keep people away from drugs, keep people away from suicide. And I think that has to be emphasized, right? Is how to prevent people from getting into a depression, considering committing suicide, getting into drugs. So many people are addicted to Valium, Xanax, Oxycodone, Tylenol with codeine. It goes on and on. And it's terrible. They're losing sight of a good life. And that's being busy. There is a therapy where if you try to help someone else, you feel good about that. You get outside your own introspection and you try to help. You try to do good, and that makes you feel better. People, this group are good people, but out there, it seems they lost this. And I think we have to emphasize this more. And whatever I can do, the last TV show, I tried to get someone on your group to come. Couldn't do it. I spoke for over a half hour about your group and gave your numbers out, website, and all that. I'm going to say one thing. I don't promote myself. I'm not a self-promoter. I don't like it. And I don't want you to buy my book unless it's applicable. I'm not into that. The point is, this week even, one of the main gists of my book is this one point, and leave you alone. I had a concert in Carnegie Hall, a CV from here in Canarsie, Brooklyn. Pianist, classical pianist. Bright guy, smart guy, nice guy. He came to me, he wasn't feeling well since March of this year. Make a long story short, finally gets a CAT scan, and he has this big mass on his kidney. 6 by 6 centimeters, that's a big mass. And the surgeon said we have to remove it. So he goes online, reads all this misinformation, oversimplification. If you remove it, you spread the cancer. That has killed so many patients. I have lots of pictures in my phone of tumors coming out of breasts, holes in people's faces. I can show you. I have them right in my phone. By people. Wait for that. And I showed this pianist these pictures because other people that are really not doctors were saying, don't remove it, you spread the cancer, do all these natural things and it'll shrink and you won't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, it's not true. You should do those things, but remove the tumor. And it's a simple thing. The surgeon doesn't want to go near the cancer. He wants clear margins. He's going to go away from the tumor because he wants to get the whole thing out and total. That's a no-brainer. So it's not going to spread it that way. Now when you leave this mass in this person's body, there's got to be over 1 million cancer cells, stem cells. It takes one of them to jump into a blood vessel, a lymphatic channel, a neural sheath, and go to your lungs, go to your liver. And now you're stage 4, you're not curable. You're not curable, you will die. So you're leaving a million cells that could jump off the mothership and seed your body, and now you're not curable, as opposed to removing the tumor. It's a big mistake. It happens all the time. And I showed him the pictures and whatever, and I begged him to get the thing out of his body, and I think he will, thank God. So that's something as simple as that sounds. Lots of people, in fact, Stephen Jobs, Apple, the head, Stephen Jobs. You heard what happened to him, right? Yeah. So he had pancreatic cancer. So he fasted, he juiced, on and on. He did not remove the tumor. He's not with us anymore. He's in my book, because that's a good example of it. Anyone have any questions? That's like saying, anything new. Like when someone asks you that broad question, Tom? Who has a question?
Oh, you're referring to me. If you wanted to talk a little bit further about how people can reduce stress and anxiety in their lives and maybe like avoid anything that can cause cancer.
All right, so it's a good, right. So here's a quick story. I'm working in Brunswick Hospital, in the emergency room, and there's this little woman that worked in housekeeping. She lived in Massapequa. She went out to dinner with her husband. She came home, her house burned down, and so did her 11 and 13-year-old daughters. They burned to death. Burned to death. It couldn't be anything worse in my book. So the point is, her hair was darker than mine. In 1 week, her hair turned white as a sheet of paper from emotional stress. So stress can do anything. In fact, when I have a cancer patient, there's no cancer in their family. They were vegetarian, they worked out every day, they have cancer. And I would ask them, why do you think you have cancer? 99.9% of the patients say, stress. And I believe that. So it can turn off your endocrine system, your immune system. So anxiety, worrying, everyone's worried, everyone's angst. Worms eat you when you're dead. Anxiety eats you up when you are alive. So I have so many patients that are super anxious. One yesterday, I learned how to be thick-skinned so I don't react. So anxiety is a big problem in our society, causing stress, so it's something that I try to work with people, and that patient yesterday, you know, how to calm down, how to make speed bumps, stay speed bumps, no mountains. Everything is a mountain and there's just little speed bumps. Everyone is over dramatizing everything, it seems. It's gonna rain. Well, okay, it's gonna rain. Even the weatherman is hyped up. It's insane. I mean, you know, forget about the news, we know that's insane. But the weatherman, you know, okay, it's sunny, is that bad? It's amazing. So everyone is, you know, I think the whole world has to calm down. It's terrible what's going on. And it's all part of this emotional craziness, whether it's depression, anxiety, worry. It's insane. And then what do people do? They need valves to let it go. So they turn to drugs. They turn to self-mutilation, you know, they cut their arms with razors and all of that. They take drugs. What's the most common way people commit suicide in this country? Anyone know? Of what? Oh, it's quite interesting. Tylenol. Yeah. So Tylenol is cheap, it's over the counter, and so they get it and they swallow a bottle. How does Tylenol kill someone?
Liver?
Kills the liver, eats up the liver. What's the antidote? So it's interesting, it's a natural thing, it's called N-acetylcysteine. We give it IV, super doses. So if you catch an overdose of Tylenol within 24 hours, you save their lives. It's one of the few antidotes we have that reverses it. You save the patient's life. If it's after 24 hours, we ship them to NYU and they get a liver transplant, right? So, a lot of people, some people, like Hispanic people typically, they drink a bottle of rubbing alcohol. And that's terrible.
Doctor, I just want to ask you to comment. I'm going to turn to my friend now. Linda, where are you? Linda, where are you? Can you comment on what the doctor just said about the cause of suicide? Linda Ventura is the head of the Thomas Hope Foundation.
Well, I would say in the United States, so I'm Linda Ventura. Unfortunately, 11 years ago I lost my 21-year-old son to substance use disorder. People don't use drugs and alcohol and substances for fun. They may start out like that, but it doesn't end up like that. And I would say what we're seeing in the United States, and certainly here on Long Island, and we haven't even begun to see mental health, the full impact on our adolescent population, because they are looking for an answer for all the uncomfortability that they have. Because if they don't get a like, if they don't get 1,000 likes from a picture that took them 600 takes on Instagram, then I got to take that down. And what's wrong with me? And what did I do? And what did I, and this is the way the world is going. And mental health has been so exacerbated during COVID. Adults, children, the whole 9 yards, and people looked. And if we think about it, what did the governor do during COVID? He made alcohol an essential service. He made alcohol, he made taxing alcohol an essential service. And close the gyms. No, we're not going to do that because you're going to get sick there. But we're going to leave people at home with alcoholism, where children, maybe their only place that they had to go was school to get a meal, but now they're left at home with drug use, alcoholism, domestic violence, and everything else. It became a nightmare for a lot of families. So what we see is, right now, people looking for a way to relieve so much pain that's going on in their life. They're not using because they want to use. And now, of course, with fentanyl on the street, it can be one and done. It can be a kid that says, I'm gonna buy a Xanax because I need a little relief from anxiety. And any pill that you buy on the street is not the actual prescription, it's the, it's just fentanyl with whatever else they have in there. So we have a big problem here on Long Island. I know this, and Mr. Fitzpatrick is here, and he remembers when we first started to come up to Albany. And my son was always held from treatment. He wasn't high enough. He was never quite enough. And at an assembly, it wasn't Mike's meeting, it was John Cusick's meeting, and I had Thomas's ashes, and I slid him up the table and said, "That's what failure at outpatient looks like. What questions do you have for me?" So, and that's when change happened in 2014, and I believe we changed about 18 bills that year. A couple of years later, we changed another. It was always in the year that there was an election. I'm just saying, a lot of things get done that year. On the off years, not so much. But I am a pain in the ass in New York State, and I'll remain a pain in the ass in New York State because we have to do that. We're not asking for them to do, anything special. I'm asking them to have care and concern for people struggling with substance use disorder and mental health disease. My friend Stephanie is here, and she actually works for New York State, but she brought her artwork. She is a woman in sustained recovery, and that's what we're promoting. That's what we take people now. We have 4,000 square feet in Holtzville, and that's because I put together a business plan, and John Flanagan, who was our state senator right here, believed in what we were going to do, and now I'm on their budget, and we help people. I connect people to treatment within 24 hours, and nobody freaking says no to me in New York State. That's the end of it. We transport them there, we take care of them, we support them. My team is here, we support each other. It's very difficult work to do, but we do it because it's the right thing to do. But more importantly, we support the family. The whole family has to go on the walk with their loved one, and that's what we try to do here. We have recovery events, open mic night, art things, craft, dominoes, whatever people want to do. You need to teach them a new life in recovery to have fun without the use of drugs and drugs. So, are you taking the mic from me? Well, if you're done. I've never done that. But it's all right.
Linda and I, how many videos did we do together? 2 videos we did with Kelly Lanzin on everything we're talking about now. Okay? But guys, this is key. We have a guest here from the state of New York, Assemblyman Michael Fitzpatrick. And I'm going to ask Michael to come up and say a few words. And any politician can speak anytime. Michael?
Good evening, everyone. Gary, thank you for inviting me to be here with you. I want to wish you the very best with this endeavor. It's a good cause. Linda Ventura is an outstanding individual who does amazing work. New York, as has been discussed already, but Linda, the doctor, there are some difficult times we're in right now, economically, socially, politically. All the confrontation, with the news on TV, it seems like we've lost our mojo. We're not going in the right direction. We seem to be struggling as a nation. And because of that, people are falling into drug use, alcohol abuse, and other problems. We have to find a way to turn this around. I don't know how we're going to do it. All you can do is, what can I do individually? Peace prayer of St. Francis, let there be peace on earth, but let it begin with me. Individually, we have to do something, whether it's help this cause, just be kind to your neighbor, talk to people. I know, I've been in politics for 36 years, and 20 in the Assembly, 15 here locally on the town council. And I've always prided myself on my ability to work with the other side, be cordial with the other side. Yeah, we can disagree, but you shouldn't be disagreeable. You can have fun, and we always have a lot of fun with each other, poke fun, etc. But when it comes down to moving the ball down the field, affecting public policy that helps people, that improves people's lives, improves the economy, improves the general well-being, of society, yeah, we have some very strong disagreements. And things are not going very well right now in New York State. We are a heavily taxed state. We are losing population. We are losing people to lower tax states. We're losing some businesses. We're having a difficult time attracting businesses, especially large businesses, to come into New York State because of the tax situation we have. I just got back from California last week. My son was out in San Francisco. San Francisco is a mess. California is a mess. They're having their problems. So, what can we do to change this? And I think what I do is, look, you continue to talk to people, you continue to reach out to people, you talk to your friends on the other side of the aisle, and try to craft legislation. Yes, I'm in the minority. However, you try to talk to the other side and ask them to consider this idea, that idea, maybe this amendment, that amendment. Sometimes, you catch more bees with honey, as they say, than you do with vinegar. At least that's how I was taught. Maybe I'm old school. But I think it works, and it can work. Sometimes not on the first try, but if you keep at it, things can get better. But what I find sad about what's happening in New York now, and Linda spoke of it before, you're going down the wrong path when you promote marijuana and you promote recreational use of marijuana and legalize it. It's a problem. The rollout has been an absolute disaster. The illegal sale is happening everywhere. You can't go in Manhattan without smelling it. You can't go. I smell it on the thruway driving up to Albany. Believe it or not, people fly by with the windows open, and you smell it. And we all know this. We smell it everywhere. That does not make society better. But the lust for the tax revenue that they believe this will generate is why it's being done. And of course, they don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to operate a business. The rollout has failed, and they're not reaping that revenue that they thought they would. The other problem we have is an increased dependence on gambling. That is not healthy either. So in my district, unfortunately, is Jake's 58. And maybe some of you have been there and enjoy gambling and enjoy playing, but in my opinion, government should not be expanding its role in gambling. And what it's doing now is now depending on gambling revenue to meet its obligations. And that's not a healthy situation. Because if you're going to get into any business, you better make that business grow. Because all of you in business know, if you're not growing, you're dying. So we are in, I think, a very difficult situation as a state government, along with California, Illinois, and a number of other states, that we are becoming more reliant on vice to meet our obligations to pay our bills. That's not a good situation. And that's what I hope to work on, as I go forward, to try and turn this, this oil tanker or the state economy or a state like New York around, because this is not good. We put in legislation in the minority to ban public use of marijuana now that it's legal recreationally. People are smoking it out, in the open air. And we've got to try and put limitations on this. I don't know if we're going to be able to ban it. I'd love to, repeal that law outright, but it's not likely. But I think better days are coming. Thank God we have elections every 2 years where people can decide to change the direction of public policy in their community, in their county, state, and in the nation. So if you're not registered to vote, please register to vote. If you haven't voted lately, please get out and vote in the next election, because the health and safety of your community and your country depend on the actions you take individually when you go into that booth and vote for whomever you vote for. So Gary, thank you for having me.
Assemblyman Michael Fitzpatrick. Michael is a very big supporter of a lot of our causes, okay, and he's a Smithtown guy, okay, what could be better for that, okay? Right now, we're gonna break for dinner, and we're gonna have great entertainment by this gentleman to my left, Paul from Long Island Sound Productions, okay, and he's gonna be entertaining us during dinner. But I want to remind everybody, this is a little bit of a fundraiser. We have a lot of raffle items there. So take money out of your pockets and buy raffle tickets.
I can hear her heart from 1,000 miles away. Yeah, her heart is open every time she smiles. And when I come to her, that's where I belong. And I run into her like a river song. She gives me love, 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 crazy love. She gives me love, 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 crazy love. She got a fine sense of humor when I'm feeling down. And when I come to her, when the sun goes down, she takes away my troubles. She take away my grief. She take away my heartache. And this I like to say. She give me love, 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 crazy love. She give me love, crazy love. And I need her in the daytime, the daytime. And I need her in the night. And I wanna roll for time. Kiss her
And so I screwed my courage up, let her know my name. As she walked across the room, this is what she said. While we watched her, well, we ignore slow. What we appreciate is what we create, don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now the years are showing me a shot that never ends. Sunshine lightens everything and all my windshield. In a way she's missing me, we don't have to pretend. We're in each other's heart, and this is what we say. When we watch her, when we ignore slow, when we appreciate is what we create, don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When we watch grow, when we ignore slow, when we appreciate is what we create, don't you know? One more time, when we watch grow, when we ignore slow, when we appreciate is what we create, don't you know? Yeah, yeah, when we watch grow. Thank you for the opportunity.
And this girl came in for one day at the nurse's office. One day. It was a Tuesday. And I was, you had a mask on, and I was facing out the window, Montreal. And they were bragging about her coming in. And as it turned out, she was only in one day. And I was working with Sister Dorothy, and we were putting a book together. And the book was verses, 28 verses for a song. And we needed to have a person write a verse. So when I got up, I turned to Nancy and I said, Nancy, would you like to write a verse? And she says, yes, absolutely. But we didn't have an opening for a verse. And about 3 days later, we were on the phone with one of the people that was supposed to write the verse, and Sister Dorothy was on the phone. Just at that moment, she was on the phone with Nancy. And there was a beep. She said, please hold on. And the person said, I can't do it. Sister Dorothy asked Nancy, will you write the story?
I just want to thank you, everyone, because this is really special, especially for me. 4 years ago, I lost my brother, 44 years old. He hung himself. Brilliant man, very, very gifted, extremely gifted. And I had a dream, and I was sleeping. And in my dream, we were in a bus. And he was laying against my arm. And if I tell you, my mom was behind the bus. And I just felt such a soothing, warm presence of my brother. And we were extremely close. My brother would give his shirt off his back. And very loving and brilliant. He had the mind of a genius. My brother was diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar. And although I didn't believe that he was, Um, he was much gifted, like we all are, each and every one of us. So, anyway, I wound up getting up out of bed. I shot out of bed, and I went into the living room, and I spoke to him for the first time in 4 years. And I said to my brother, what can I do to you help mom and dad hit greatness? What can I do to share your story? What can I do to leave your legacy? So, the next day I go to work, and I get to see Anthony Malone. And that's how it all happened. He says, do you mind? He heard obviously something about me, and I was meant to be there at that moment. And he connected me with Dorothy Eldera, and I speak to her the next day, and she says, is there anything you want to share with me? And I said to her, what was I going to say? I don't know you. She says, hold on. So she gets back on the phone, and she says to me, well, you won't believe this. The lady that was supposed to write the part, taking care of the ill, she can't do that lead. You're it. I said, wow. I was blown away. I literally felt like my heart just sunk into my chest cavity. That was my brother. We are all eternal. None of us die. And it's a rejoice. We're all here to learn. This is school. And we all have gifts. And everything that's going on with the social media, with the government, with politics, we have to rise above in consciousness, much higher. The mentally ill are not mentally ill, they're gifted. We just don't understand it. None of us understand it. So we put a label to it. And it's not about a label. Love is love. You never give up. And you never shame, you never guilt, you never fear, you never doubt. You just trust. Who? On the light. It's all pure light. When you go into something, in a relationship, do you doubt it? No. You just put in it. And you just trust. And give it all your best shot. It doesn't matter in the end. That's what life is about. We are the avatars. You're gifted, you're gifted, you're gifted, you're gifted. We're all gifted. It's about letting go. It's not about control. And you're all beautiful. And I love every one of you. By the way, my two brothers, my dad and my son, died in 4 years. And they were all gifted. We gotta rise in consciousness. Don't allow the darkness to surpass what you are meant to be. You are the avatars, and we are all gifted.
Thank you.
Right.
sometimes, you know, that story, it was unbelievable because I got up and turned to her, and a while back, her brother did show and said, write my story. And the next day, Dorothy said to her, this is what I want you to do. So she had an opportunity to do that. It was like really amazing sometimes when you let go. And that's what she was saying.
I'd love to talk to everybody about the WIHN Foundation, kind of from my perspective. Anthony sees the WIHN Foundation as this right here, and kind of just being like, you know, in people's faces, and giving his books out, and just being as helpful and in the community, and trying to create awareness as best as we can. I've kind of taken his idea and brought it to the digital world, and came up with this really cool idea. So there's actually a QR code over there. I'd recommend all of you to scan it on your way out and donate. The minimum's like 20 bucks or 25 bucks. But we are actually advertising with social media on schools on Long Island right now. High schools, middle schools, colleges, and we're advertising videos that we're just saying that your life matters. That's it. That's literally the video. There's no sale to it, there's no gimmick to it, there's nothing. It's literally just, your life matters, we care about you, your life is worth way more than you know, and you can achieve some amazing things if you just go out there and try it. So that's our goal, is to just create awareness and tell people that your life matters and that this is, you know, what we're trying to do overall. So, like I said, there's a QR code on a piece of paper over there. You scan it. You can go to winusa.com, WIHN, which stands for When in Heaven's, I'm sorry, Why in Heaven's Name. So Why in Heaven's Name, USA.com. So WIHN, USA.com. You can, you know, donate right there. But yeah, this is the goal. We want to change the culture, and the only way to change culture today is social media. You get in people's faces, and I want to stop all these big companies out there from giving us horrible information every day, and give people something, especially the young community, give them something that shows them that their life matters, right? So I encourage all of you, scan that QR code, and thank you all for coming here tonight. This has been awesome, really, right? So thank you.
Very nice.